So she told me behind closed doors, saying that most likely my cancer comes in Chernobyl, because they can see a spike in cancer rates. And that is why ultimately in February of 1988, I was diagnosed with cancer and ended up in hospital for a long time. But I survived. And when I was 19, and my Dr. Peterman, she said, you're good to go, you're in remission. So I said, God, why me? How come I survive? And quite many that I saw over those 3 years did not. And that is the beginning of my own personal journey, trying to pierce the veil and look behind it and make sense of it.
Thanks for watching the Near Death Network here on YouTube. My name is Mark Lewis. I thank you for watching our videos, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And as always, leave us your comments.
Welcome to another edition of What's Death Got to Do with It here on YouTube channel Near Death Network. My name is Mark Lewis. We talk about all things near death and related topics like we'll discuss today with Indian palm leaf readings, which are fascinating, so you want to stick around. Well, essentially the postulate of this show is that death is, as we know it, is an incorrect defined transition state. Consciousness always is, consciousness always will exist. And so the bulk of work by academicians, clinicians, and experiencers in toto show us they're the pioneers of consciousness. They go forward, they let us know what's beyond the veil and see how we can profit from their experiences. So it's my pleasure to bring in Dr. Qiu right now from the Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute. We met through Reverend Bill McDonald, who's a fascinating guy in and of himself, and he has an extensive experience in Indian culture. In fact, a couple of his NDEs happened there. So he begged me, said, you got to talk to Dr. Qiu. This is a fascinating topic. And the more I dig into it, the more I understand it and see how it correlates to the near-death experience. But thanks for being on the show today. And kind of, why don't you give people a primer on what was going on in your life health-wise that kind of drove you in this direction?
Thank you so much, Mark, for having me on your show today. I really appreciate it, giving me an opportunity to spread this ancient and powerful wisdom called Nadi astrology, Nadi readings, or Indian palm leaf readings to your audience. Now, before we start, because you guys are focusing on near-death experiences, and I thought there is actually a very powerful bridge between NDEs and Nadi palm leaf readings, because they touch upon the fundamental questions that we all have. Does consciousness survive the body? Is life pre-planned or guided? And is there purpose behind any of this? So allow me to dive in and explain it and connect the dots for you.
Yeah, please
as
do.
As it seems that in NDEs, people get a glimpse of the cosmic system, the bigger picture,
right,
for a short amount of time. And Nadi Shastra appears to be a record of that system. So there is a lot of interconnection between these two. And before we go deeper into the connection and how Nadi readings are connected to near-death experiences, in short, sages in India, known as Maharishis, Maha great, Rishi sage, so great Rishi, sages, thousands of years ago, we do not know exactly when because there is no written record, but thousands of years ago, legend has it anywhere between 5,000 to 7,000 years ago it all started, sat down in deep meditation, invoked the powers of Shiva and Parvati, tapped into the Akashic records and downloaded messages for souls to be delivered to them at the exact moment of time when they're ready to hear the message. And I brought a picture of the main 18 Tamil Siddhars. There were hundreds of them, but only these 18 we look for books or bundles, and I explain all that in a detail in a minute. The guy in the middle, that is the grandfather of all Maharishis. He's known as Maharishi Agastya. He wrote the most leaves. So if you get a reading, then most likely it will be a reading from his book. So picture enlightened humans sitting down in meditation, tapping into the Akashic records, and then trying to help humans to reach moksha. Now, I need to explain a few things about Hindu mythology so that it all makes sense. We humans are born and reborn, seemingly this never-ending vicious cycle, as I call it, where we don't really want to be here. I don't want to be here. I'm so done being a human, and I do my utmost. To not come back. So this cycle is known as samsara. You die, you come back again, and you gradually you graduate. There are 7 layers. Bottom layer, layer 1, basic stuff. You're in kindergarten until you eventually get to the 7th level, and in between, every time you graduate, there are God knows how many lives in each level, and eventually you reach the 7th layer. To then, hopefully, at some point, reach your last life. That means you're about to graduate, to have the ultimate perpetual NDE. Although it's not an NDE anymore, it is it. You reach moksha. And moksha means liberation. Liberation from the seemingly never-ending cycle of death and birth. So these Maharishis wrote leaves for last lifers, as we call them now lovingly in our institute. Second to last lifers, that means hang on, just one more time to come back. You're almost there. And the crazy ones, as I may call them, also tongue-in-cheek a little bit, re-mokshat souls like Reverend Bill, because you mentioned him already, who has become a very dear friend, mentor, and supporter for what we do. Re-mokshat means you've already reached moksha. You're done. You can stick your toes in the sandy beach and sip your pina colada under a palm tree for the rest of eternity, and have a grand time and just listen to the breeze of the ocean. But then some of them get bored, as I call it. I'll try to bring in some humor here. They look down on humanity and say, oh my God, these people need some help. So let me go back voluntarily this time, reincarnate as a human and help. And that is what Reverend Bill has done. He's a re-mokshat soul. We also call them time travelers, light workers, whatever. But these are humans that are done and are crazy enough to come back voluntarily. Everyone else doesn't have that luxury. We have to be here. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to be here, but of course,
we've got to earn it.
We've got to earn it, right? So for these 3 types of souls, second to last, and re-mokshat souls, Maharishis wrote a guidebook, not to be taken literally, but a guidebook, a compass, to help them get across the finish line and reach moksha. Just because you came back voluntarily does not mean that you're done and you have to do the whole samsara thing again. No, you just go back to where you were before. So in short, enlightened sages wrote guidelines, a compass for all souls to get across finish line and reach moksha. That is the whole purpose of it, to keep it super simple. And why did they do so? I need to explain a few more terms here. Your audience might have heard of the yugas, not yoga. Yoga is contorting your body in a way. But yugas are huge time periods, and there are 4 of them. And currently, we are in the dark times, Kali Yuga. That means that only 25% of souls, that's the minority, they know how to intrinsically be on the righteous path, dharma, by doing good things. You don't have to be spiritual or feel chosen or enlightened or any of that. No, you can be just an honest, good teacher, firefighter, police officer, lawyer, nurse, physician.
Not lawyers.
Oh yeah, lawyers can too.
I'm
of
just
course.
kidding.
I know what you mean.
My wife works for a lawyer, so
I know what you mean. I understand. But a lawyer I studied law. I was at the university, hence my doctorate, not a JD, an actual doctorate, a PhD. So if you do it with the right intention, and ethically, and you are of service to another human, hence also lawyer or police officer or, I don't know, firefighter, then you are on the righteous path. You are doing what you're supposed to be doing. The opposite of Kali Yuga is Satya Yuga, where all of humanity automatically knows how to be on the righteous path. That means they're not driven by ego, money, power, greed, whatever crazy things we do as human beings. We all are automatically and internally driven to be on the righteous path. But regrettably, we're not in such a yuga. Just look around you. No need to mention anything here.
Yeah, the right hates the left hates the right. There's chaos, there's wars, there's pestilence, there's murder. Correct. Yeah, there's enough.
It's just mind-numbing, actually. So
there's some work to do. Let's put it that way.
A lot of work to do, yes, a lot. So now only 25% of these souls are on the righteous path. And that means the minority of souls have to carry the majority of souls through Kali Yuga to then eventually reach Satya Yuga. To help the minority, the 25%, and not just the 25%, the old souls within the 25%, so that's the minority of a minority, those that are ready to just graduate and be done with it, for exactly those souls, the Maharishis wrote a guideline, which we call Indian palm leaf readings. We came up with a term to help Western audience understand it a little better and easier, what it is that we do. Indian, so they can connect it to India. Palm leaf, so hopefully they don't say tea leaf or please read my palm.
Right.
By showing the palm of my hand. And trust me, I still get messages left, right, and center. What's your tea leaf reading about? And can you read my palm? I was like, dude, check out my website and then come back to me. And reading that there is some sort of a message involved in this. So Indian palm leaf reading. But in India, nobody calls it that. They call it Nadi reading, Nadi astrology, or Nadi Shastra. There are many, many names for this. So Nadi is important to understand too, because Nadi has many meanings. In our particular case, it means seeker. That will be a person who seeks the information on the leaf. It means the leaf itself, but also the exact moment in time when the message is divulged to the seeker. Not a day before, not a day later. So whenever you might get your reading mark, that will be Nadi. Nadi also means pulse, energetic streams that go through your body, representing life. So it has many, many meanings. And astrology, because it is connected, it falls within the huge realm of Vedic astrology, which is a fairly modern term for something that's very old. It is actually Indian astrology or Hindu astrology. Only in the 60s, when Westerners discovered India and Ayurveda, Ayurveda also points in the direction. They wanted to streamline it and connect it to the Vedas, because really the fundamental pillars of Hinduism and Hindu mythology are the Vedas. And hence Ayurveda, so anything that's health related, and Vedic, connecting with the Vedas to astrology, a higher power, if you wish. So it falls within that big realm of Vedic astrology, only that this is a predicted astrological reading, where we only need your thumbprint, and I'll explain that in a minute too. A regular Indian, regular astrological reading, you need your birth date, time, and place. And based on these, a chart is drawn and then explained to you how the stars align for you in the coming years. For us, it doesn't matter at all. All we need is your thumb impression, category, type, and I'll explain that in a minute. So now that we've established that there is indeed a connection between NDE and Nadi readings and what Nadi reading means and when it all started, We can go a little deeper too. And for those of you who've been to India, I want to explain that too. And if not, then please know that India has a similar governmental setup as the United States. It's a federal country, federal system with states, and each state has a governor these days. And the southernmost state of India is known as Tamil Nadu. It's a big state. It's a country within the country. It is on the east coast. It's elongated just like California. Only the California, yes, with one big difference. It has 85 million people
as
in
opposed to 12
to 40 some in California. So twice the population in that state. It's elongated, and it starts almost at the very top, the very north of that state is the capital city, Chennai, formerly known as Madras. And then you travel, a few hours because roads are not so good and traffic is hell, crazy. It takes you 5, 6, 7 hours. It's so believe it or not, I've driven almost everywhere on this planet, just not in India. I just don't dare driving in India. I always have a professional driver driving us around. So you drive 5, 6, 7 hours south, and you end up in the central parts of Tamil Nadu, and that is where the village or town, I should say, of Vaitishvaran Koil is. And Vaitishvaran Koil is, legend has it, the birthplace of Nadi astrology. It still exists, there's a big temple there too. And the area around Vaitishvaran Koil, Chidambaram, Trishi, you name it. So this is where the rishis lived and wrote down the messages on dried palm leaves. So far, so good. It's quite a complex thing. So since we're talking about NDEs, I knocked on heaven's door quite a few times in my lifetime. And the only person that I know who spent more time in hospital than me is Reverend Bill. I've spent a lot of time in hospitals.
Started when you were a teenager, is that right? Or?
When I was 16 to 19, I had cancer. And in those 3 years, I spent 6 months as an inpatient. A long, long time, I'm telling you. The hospitals became my second home. Chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, you name it, the whole 9 yards. I even had shingles, which was right here on my left side. I almost lost my eyesight. The pain was excruciating. I did not even, I don't want to go back in time and relive any of that. So, but this was the starting point of me trying to figure out what's behind the veil. So at 16, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I said, God, why me? I mean, how come I'm here? I'm just a kid, I haven't done anything bad. And mind you, I grew up in Iran, which is now again in the news, because my father was Persian, my mom was is Austrian. And I grew up as a wealthy kid, with a golden spoon in my mouth, chauffeur, nanny, the whole 9 yards. Revolution 1979 brought an end to all of this. So we had to flee the country. So I know how it feels to be wealthy, but I also know how it feels to be a refugee. Because really we had 4 suitcases. That's it. We left Iran on August 29th, 1979. I remember that very well. And landed in Austria. So that is almost, 50 years ago. It's crazy how time flies. And so I also know how it feels to have no money at all. My mom became the breadwinner. And living in Vienna, Austria, until my teenage years, until 1986, Chernobyl happened, and it is to this date the biggest nuclear catastrophe. At the time, it was in the USSR, which doesn't exist anymore. Now it is in the Ukraine, which is also in the news. Yeah. Again embattled. My heart goes out to them. So Chernobyl burst in April of 1986, and the nuclear cloud traveled across Europe and then dumped its nuclear waste over Central Europe. And my cancer doctor, we became very close friends. She became like a second mom to me. Because I survived, obviously, and I was a kid. And she at the right age, to be my mom. And to this date, and she's still alive, thank God, we're in contact. We talk all the time. So she told me behind closed doors, saying that most likely my cancer comes from Chernobyl, because they can see a spike in cancer rates. And that is why ultimately in February of 1988, I was diagnosed with cancer and ended up in hospital for a long time. But I survived. And when I was 19, and my Dr. Peterman, she said, you're good to go, you're in remission. So I said, God, why me? How come I survive? And quite many that I saw over those 3 years did not. And that is the beginning of my own personal journey trying to pierce the veil and look behind it and make sense of it. Is everything random? Am I separate from a bigger picture? Or am I the bigger picture? Or am I just one part of the bigger picture? So all these things, and I was young, I had no idea about life in general, really.
Were you always introspective? Were you as an individual always introspective, even as a young man?
Yes, I was always a thinker. I like to read. I read Che Guevara's books and things that are as a teenager, because I had a lot of time in hospital, a lot. And what could I do? I could read, and that is when my interest in all this started. It was slow. It was not like bam and there it is. No, it was a gradual thing. So over the last 40 plus years, I'm giving away my age here. It's I spend good money on trying to be as sexy as I possibly can be with Botox and all the rest of it.
You don't have children either to age you.
I do.
Oh, you do? You have children to age you too?
Now I do, yes. So that's another miracle that happened to me recently. So
that's great.
It is, thank you. Yes. While I pursued a regular career too, and most likely, I should say in hindsight, I would have become a physician because I come from a physician's family. Brothers are physician, uncles, grandfather, they're all physicians, cousins. But 3 years in hospital cured me for life to ever set voluntarily foot in a hospital. So I became an academic. So the Dr. Qiu is not just a stage name. It was bestowed upon me by my friends at the university when I got my PhD. And
what was your study? What did you study?
Law. I studied law.
Law.
Yeah. I'm a philosopher at heart. So, and I understand the concept of law as just the manifestation of philosophy. It's a guidebook, really, of how humans should interact and be. It's just that this one country that we're in today butchered it beyond belief and gave it a bad name. Because I don't know if you know, but when I was an academic, it blew my mind that 95% of all lawsuits, 95%, that's almost all lawsuits launched globally, are launched in this one country, the United States. And 95% of all lawsuits in the world are launched in this one country.
Because it became a monetization platform as opposed to something to redress a grievance. So
yes, correct.
And how do you legislate that? You're dealing with other barristers who are dealing with other barristers, and that's why the minutia, and that's why the lawyer jokes that we all do, right?
Of course.
My wife says, if you're walking down the hall, don't look at a lawyer because that's a point too. It's going to cost you, $175 just to make eye contact.
Yes,
but
yes.
Get beyond that. Didn't you? So when did you contract myocarditis? Because that's what really exponentially accelerated your draw to the
this. It's actually what started all my journey with this. But before that, I did group therapies, energy healing, Reiki, shamans in the Amazon. Ayahuasca, many times, not just once or twice. I did it all really because I'm interested in it. I want to know what I cannot see. And so 13 years ago, while guiding a trip, I presume that's the case because we cannot pinpoint it. I contracted a virus from one of my guests. And I came back home to Budapest. I live in Budapest, by the way, which is the capital city of Hungary. So if you have not been, please come and visit. It is a gorgeous city indeed. And I had met a girl, and that's the reason why I moved from the US to Budapest. A lady, Emise, who is now my best friend. And we're both fit. I know you cannot see it, but I'm a fit guy.
I've met you, so
yeah. I do a lot of sports. Not to be buff or so, I just have to do it because of my cancer. I need to stay fit. So I watch what I eat and I do sports pretty much every day. Gym, swimming, jogging, it doesn't really matter. It's not for me to look good, it's for me to just live, really. That's the whole thing. So we went jogging after coming back from a tour in April of 2013. I just couldn't keep up with her. I couldn't. I started to sweat and I developed a chill. And she said, this doesn't look good. So she put me on a train the next morning, 7 a.m., and said, go to your cancer hospital. And that is when I walked in, using the train to go travel from Budapest to Vienna, which is a 3-hour train ride, and then hopped on the metro, on the subway, and went to my hospital. And I'll go to this hospital for 40 plus years. So I have a bit of a VIP status. And I mean it, tongue in cheek a little bit, because they know me. They know me. I've known every single nurse, physician. When they were young, they were. Now that I'm old myself, at that time they must have been 28, 29, just finished medical school and started, and now they're the senior physicians. So when they see me, it's like, oh, hello, welcome back, and I get just treated differently because there's history.
Your room is ready.
Yes, in a way.
You got the penthouse
yes.
again.
In a way, yes, in a way. So I came back and I said, I don't feel so good. I got fever, chills, and I do not know where it comes from. Maybe it's the cancer coming back. I have no idea. So they did a quick checkup and they said, oh my God, this doesn't look good. So they sent me to the cardiology department, not the hematology, but the cardiology department. So I was in the oncology, which is cancer department, the hematology part of it, which is blood cancer. So and then the cardiologist said, "Oh my God, you're very sick. You need to stay here." I said, "What? I've got to fly to Frankfurt in 3 days. Can I do it?" He then shouted into my ear. Remember that too. He shouted into my ear, "Dr. Muad, I don't think you really understand. You're very sick. That you're alive. It's a miracle." I was like, "Really? I took the train here. What's going on?" He said, "You have to check in now." So I stayed, of course, and then that night I collapsed. Had I not been put on the train by meat, I might be dead now and not being able to talk to you today. My fever reached 42 Celsius, that is, 108 Fahrenheit, for weeks, not just 1 or 2 days, for weeks. I did not know if it's Sunday or Monday, morning or evening. I sweat like profusely, and eventually they couldn't, and my heartbeat, went to 200 and then down, up, down the whole time. It was myocarditis, which is the inflammation of your heart muscle. I had water in my heart sag, pneumonia, water in my lungs, all caused by a virus. And so eventually they said, we cannot do anything here. We have to put you into the ICU. So they shoved me into the ICU, and I spent 8 days in the ICU. And so Amis came visiting me, and she washed me, mind you, because I could not move at all. I was sedated, I was lying semi-conscious in my bed. And that was a humbling experience too. So and as they were moving me from my room to the ICU, I thought to myself, God, I don't understand, why am I in hospital so many times? And I'm not even mentioning all the smaller issues that I had in life, because I've been in hospital quite many times. So as they shoved me, I remember the two, I was in bed and they bring me into the ICU. I said, oh my God, this must have to do with karma, because this lifetime, I think I'm a pretty nice guy. I really don't, I think so. I mean, I don't pursue wealth. I don't pursue money. It's not my driver in life at all. I try to be helpful as best as I can. I try to be kind as best as I can. So I thought to myself, this must have to do with karma. And as Meshi was, Meshi is short for Amis, as Meshi was visiting me, she mentioned palm leaf readings. And I was like, wow, this is cool, because I told her I think it has to do with karma. And in local news, in Hungary, a guy from Hungary had mentioned this in like a documentary or an interview on TV or radio, I don't remember. So she heard about that. And I said, wow, this sounds fascinating. If I survive, I'll go and get a reading, and that's the beginning of my Nadi reading journey, because obviously I survived. And obviously I got a reading, and the reading blew my mind. Otherwise I wouldn't be here. So for the audience out there, in case you haven't noticed yet, I am not Indian. I'm just a regular white guy. So I have really no connections to India apart from loving hot food, spicy food. I do yoga for 30 years. I meditate. But apart from that, there is no connection to India for me. And yet in the reading, the reader told me in a bi-sentence too, it was not the main message at all, because it went in one ear and out the other. He said, oh, you're going to bring this to the West. I was like, look at me, I'm a Western guy. There's nothing to do with this at all. And yet it became reality. Not because somebody was there with a gun against my forehead saying you have to bring it to the West. No, I just shared my experience enthusiastically with friends and family, and they all wanted to get a reading too. So I said, great, let's book a flight. Let's go to India. We'll get it done. And that is when I realized that most people, Western people that is, will never go to India. They won't. It's a no-go zone for whatever reason. The food's too spicy, too much, dirt.
Well, just the drivers you talked about.
The
Nobody
driver,
wants to
just the
drive
driver.
around
Yeah.
there.
True. There's a lot of obstacles for them, long flights. And so in the early days, I asked the reader, can we do it on Skype? Skype doesn't even exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sat in every reading for my friends and their friends with the reader, because I realized right away I cannot have them talk to the reader directly without a bridge. First of all, they had issues understanding the accents. Readers in general, not all, but most of them do not speak English at all. So they only speak Tamil, because all of this is written in Tamil. So do you need to have an interpreter? Not that I can interpret, but do you find an interpreter there? And the interpreter, even though they interpret Tamil to English, they do it with a heavy accented Indian English, so it's very hard to understand what they're saying. And I don't have the issue. I do not know, because I've been exposed to a lot of dialects and accents. So I even though I have to, focus in the early days, now it's much, much, much easier. I sat in every single reading as a type of a moderator, just to repeat things into more proper English so my friends and family could understand, but also the deeper meaning of the reading. I knew intrinsically, even though I didn't have a guide that you now have in me to really explain things to me detailed, I just went into it blindly, open to receive, and that's it. I knew in the core of my system that I cannot take the message literally, not verbatim. I know through life experience that no one's life is set in stone. That's important for you to understand too out there. We have free will and choice, very important. Free will and choice. How much we have, Mark, we can talk about in a different podcast.
Sure.
But we do have free will and choice every single day, every minute of every day. Do a turn
Well, and
left,
that's
right.
analogous to a lot of the near-death readings that talk
Absolutely.
about pre-birth planning, sitting with their guides, going over the outline. They're saying, are you serious? You want to go back to Earth? Is that what you want to do? Because this is going to be tough, and you're going to be born into poverty. Your parents are going to be drug addicts. They're going to die simultaneously by a drug overdose, like one of our gals that we've talked to, Betty Wadano. And she said, yeah, well, then maybe no, maybe I'll stay here. Because like you said, if you're in nirvana, why would you want to come back here? Well, if you are philanthropic and you're a server, if you come to serve, then you want to have the opportunity to help guide these other souls who are kind of wandering back into the fold, so they don't have to go through the same kind of predicament over and over and over again. But this is where this gets really convoluted, just to my simple mind, is that time is not linear. So time is linear here where we live and we work and we play and we have families. So it's sometimes very difficult for the layperson to grasp the concept of simultaneous time. But science and quantum mechanics now is defining there's multiple layers of frequency and resonance. So it makes sense to us, to you and I, because we can see that my reading was initiated by me through them at the appointed time that I needed to have it. And I had to take that position like you did, to take the position to get the reading. They're not going to seek you out. They wrote it 3,000 years ago by our calendar, but it might as well have been today or a second ago, because consciousness never dissipates, right? Mm-hmm. The Akashic records, which you referenced earlier, which Edgar Cayce is famous for accessing in his readings, are the repository of everything that exists. For want of a better term, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it like the metaphorical library of the universe? Each one of us have our own volume that can be accessed and to help us redirect our purpose? Or how would you characterize it?
Yeah, it's if we define the Akashic records as the compendium of all knowledge in the etherical world out there, well, then the Nadi reading, the message on a leaf, is your own personal message, your own little Akashic record. All they did is they went there. It's kind of like if you ask a friend, oh, where can I find information on this? Oh, go to the internet. Man, how stupid is that answer? It's on the internet. It's like a gigantic thing, the internet, but where to find it, that is the question. You know, which
Right.
aisle, which section, that's what you need to know. To the answer, it drives me nuts. Someone says, oh, it's on the internet, just Google it. It's like, man, it can take hours. You know, I need guidelines exactly where to look.
You got to focus.
Got to focus. Yeah, correct. So the Akashic Records is the same. Oh, it's in the Akashic Records. What do you mean? I mean, it's gigantic. It's way beyond what our minds can comprehend and process. So what they did, they tapped into it, and then for a soul who is ready to graduate, to go beyond being a human, to reach moksha, liberation, put it down, and then wrote them on palm leaves. Because again, if you put your historical glasses on like I do, then at the time there was no paper. There was no ink either. You know, there wasn't. So they had to figure out a way to maintain it and preserve it for a long time until that soul is ready to receive the message. So that is why they used palm tree leaves, not the dingy ones that you're used to here in the United States. I'm talking southern Indian palm trees, which are different to the ones that you're used to. So when you are in California, Arizona, wherever you are, Florida, with palm trees, you look at them and say, "Oh, really? That doesn't? I don't think
there's not enough room."
Yeah, but the leaves of certain palm trees in southern India, they're ginormous. I'm telling you, they're humongous. And then so they cut those big leaves into slices of maybe 10, 20 inches. It's not standardized, so they're not the same size, maybe 1 or 2 inches wide, and then etched onto the leaf, the fresh leaf, using a sharp tool, the message in Granta, which is ancient Tamil that doesn't exist anymore. It's not spoken anymore. Now they speak modern Tamil. So they etch the message on the leaves and then put similar souls together in a book or bundle, and then these books and bundles are now stored in archives and libraries, primarily in the state of Tamil Nadu, primarily. But of course, you can get an authentic reading. I'm only talking about authentic stuff. Maybe a little insertion here too. People say, "Oh, I want to get it done in India. It's so much more authentic." I always say, "Good luck. Go enjoy. You know, long flight." The majority of readings are done by how to put it kindly, by people who have at best, yes, or sophomoric knowledge of what is it they do. They had a few weeks, you know, training, and then they know the basics, and off you go. But a real reader needs years. Like, it's a long process to become a reader, and it's not easy to find a real good one either. I've been doing this for 12 years. A long time, lots of energy and money trying to find those that I can trust, that are ethical, that are not driven just by dollar signs, and know what they're doing. It takes 5 years, give or take, you know, to become a real reader. And in the old days, since we're talking about India, we had the caste system, as you might be aware of. But about 20 some years ago, the federal government, got rid of the caste system, so it doesn't exist officially anymore. But I guarantee you, an Indian can determine within 1 second in which caste the other Indian is that they're talking to. So officially it doesn't exist anymore, but unofficially it is just as alive and kicking as it used to be.
I spent some time in Sri Lanka in 2012
for
same. three months for an assignment for a sports-related football league they were trying to create based on the Bollywood model. And I noticed it right away, and I wasn't that familiar with the caste system, but when we stayed in a very nice 5-star hotel, when we would go to the buffet, the Brahmins would just butt right in front of me. They felt that they were worthy of just being rude and going in and getting food.
Yes.
And I don't want to characterize everybody in that light, but I see what you're saying. Based on actions, you can define where somebody is in the overall scope of that system.
Yes, absolutely. So in the old days, you were born into a Nadi reading caste. So it was passed on from great-grandfather, grandfather, father, son, grandson, and so forth. Nowadays, as an outsider, you can also become a Nadi reader. You just need to find a guru, a teacher, that can help you learn it bottom up, and that takes time. It really does, because a reader needs to learn ancient Tamil, that's Granta, needs to learn Vedic astrology, you know, the regular stuff, because there are symbols on the leaf that refer directly to the constellation of planets, which have an impact on us. He needs to learn gemology, numerology, Ayurvedic principles, because any health-related stuff that's on your leaf, of course, is based in Ayurvedic principles. So a reader really needs to learn a lot, not, let alone identifying your thumbprint category type. That in itself is like a science. So it takes time to become a good reader, and that's like the key person in getting this done. So we established already that these are written leaves based on your thumbprint category type. Similar souls travel together in a Booker bundle, and this is what I brought here too for you to have a look at. That's a Booker bundle, and I wrote demo on it because I copied an actual bundle onto plastic. Because in the old days, I brought a real one with me, you know, when I gave talks, and I gave many talks, live talks, very fragile. And, you know, I opened this up and I showed people, you know, the real bundle. And I said, looky is okay, but touchy is not. And what do people do? They dodge.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, man, oh man, I told you that's 200-300 years old, so you cannot touch. So these are individual leaves, and it's all made out of plastic. So now when I give talks, I pass it on through the group, and I say, you can touch it, kiss it, lick it, you do whatever you want with it, because it makes no difference. So these leaves are written in a dead language called Granta, and in one Booker bundle are souls that are similar because they all share the same thumbprint category type. So one leaf.
It's like subcategories for individuals, and
yep,
and then you drill down further from that subcategory.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
So there are a couple thousand thumbprint category types, a couple thousand, but only 108 carry a message. So 108 is maybe the holiest number in Hinduism. And in a Booker bundle, we can have a max number of 108. Nowadays, because of time, you know, going by, floodings, fires, you know, whatever, they disintegrate after a couple hundred years. The average bundle might have 40 to 60 leaves, give or take, 70, I do not know. But the original, 108. And they travel together through time in archives. And these archives are not archives that you might be thinking of, because when you think of archives, water dispenser, air conditioning, security guards, you know, whatever that comes into our minds when we think of that. No, my friends, the reality of it is most of these nadi palm leaf leaves are in the hands of private individuals, nadi reading dynasties. And they've traveled through the centuries in their home. It's their treasure. So when we talk about an archive, there may be 200, 300, 400 bundles, 500 bundles, that's it. And there is no the archive either, because I get many messages, oh, I want to visit the archive. I was like, my friend, there is no the archive. There are thousands of them that carry these juicy ones that we want. There are federal archives, absolutely, run by the government, state-run, and municipal. But they're more for academic reasons. And yes, there is air conditioning sometimes, not all the time, because we're talking India. But the juicy ones that we want, so 95% of all of them are in private hands. And it's usually a back room, you know, dusty back room. They have a lock on it because it's their treasure. And that is the reality of it. Primarily in Tamil Nadu, but you can get it outside of Tamil Nadu nowadays too. Delhi, Mumbai, wherever you go. Sri Lanka, they have authentic ones. Bali. But the hub is still Tamil Nadu, because that's where it all started. And that is, let's talk about the process. It's the same process as, 5,000 years ago, because these rishis in their eternal wisdom said, how can we connect a leaf to a soul? And also at a time where really no one could read or write. Only the elite knew how to read and write. Priests, government officials, rulers, and that sort of thing. So they said, the easiest thing would be just to connect it to your thumbprint, because you don't need to know how to read and write. All you need to do is submit your thumbprint. The reader looks at it, identifies your thumbprint category type, and then goes on a search for your Booker bundle that hopefully contains your individual leaf. So let's talk about the process. It's a 3-step process, exactly the same as we've done for centuries. First will be search for the Booker bundle, matching of your leaf, and then reading of the message to you. Search is a physical act. So if you were in India, you would go to a reader's office, submit your thumbprint, male right, female left. And since we had a few transgenders already, it is the gender at birth that matters, not the chosen gender. So you submit it, and the reason for right being a male and left being female is the energies. Right represents male energies and left female. And the thumb is actually the most spiritual finger that we have. And I won't go too deep into this, otherwise this interview might take 2 hours and not just one. So that is the reason why we use the thumb. And if you cannot produce a thumbprint of the thumb that is in accordance to your gender, don't worry, because we've had people who either lost their thumb or through chemical use, they cannot produce one. You can just use the opposite one. We just need to know that I'm male, but I'm submitting my left thumbprint. And if you don't have any thumbs, we can still use your index finger, middle finger, and so forth. We just need to know it, because they're interpreted in a different way. If it's not the thumb that is in that doesn't correspond your gender. So then the reader will look at it. So the reader really only knows your thumbprint and your gender, and to help him a little bit, the country of birth, and that's it. He then looks at your impression through a magnifying glass. That's what happens, literally speaking, to magnify it. And then they identify your thumbprint category type. There are 108 different ones, 108. It's a holy number. Some of them are easy. I have to be honest here too. You know, it's an easy peasy. When you look at back your life, you're like, oh, you know, I didn't have any major hiccups, no major health issues or any of that. But some of them are a little more challenging. It's neither good nor bad. It just is. Embrace, accept, and we will work with it. So once he knows your thumbprint category type, that's all he needs. He then goes into the archives. So it's a physical act. There's no computer involved, no register of any kind. It's just word of mouth and hearsay. He would first walk into his own office, you know, his own little archive, go through it. Each bundle has like a symbol on it or a number, so he will know from the outside if it's a matching one or not. If he cannot find it in his own archive, he will go to his neighbors, the one next door, you know, further down the street, hop on his bicycle, go to the end of the village, hop on a moped, go to the neighboring village. And if it's too far away, he would, you know, use public transportation on a bus, you know, sitting there for an hour, traveling somewhere. And nowadays, of course, modern times have kicked in too. We can use agents, and it would call somebody 5 hours away, say, can you please look in the archives up there to see if you can find one that's matching this thumbprint category type. So that is how it works. It's a physical act. Now, if you're lucky, you walk into a temple, because temples can have it too, not just individuals. They go into their archives, they find it. Lucky you, perfect. So it was a few hour thing. But if you do it for us, then simply because of the sheer number of signups that we have, the search period is about 2 to 5 months, give or take. That's just it. It can be 1 day, it can be 1 week, absolutely. But please do not bombard us with messages. Have you found it yet? Have you found it yet? We will find it. Just trust the process. So after a certain period of time, they bring back the bundle, the book, to the office. So if you were in the office, you would walk over to the office. We do it over Zoom, easy. And then the matching and the reading are done in one session. And for that, you need about 3 to 4 hours. So it's quite time consuming. Simple reason is we first need to find your leaf. That's called matching process. And then there is a 15-minute break because the reader needs to, you know, recover a little bit too. And you too, you know, you can go and smoke a cigarette, you know, doobie to calm your nerves, get a cup of coffee, use the bathroom. And then we have the reading part. So matching is, I explained that to you too, briefly. He would open up the bundle and look at the first leaf. Mind you, one more time, leaves are written in a dead language, Granta. So the reader has to learn that. Leaves are written as a poem, not in prose. That would be awesome if it said, this leaf belongs to Mark. It doesn't work like that. It's a poem, primarily a discussion between Shiva and his wife Parvati. Question, answer in a poetic way. 3, Tamil and ancient Tamil both are syllabic languages, sound-based, ha, cha, hi, chi, this and so forth. So if we had to convert it into a Western alphabet system, it would have 247 letters, 247. So you need to be aware of these things because it's not an easy thing to match it and read your leaf. And last but not least, and the icing on the cake, it's written in code. It's the only way to compress so much information onto a small leaf. So it needs to be decoded, and a good reader knows how to decode it. And we'll get to that too. And you, my friends out there, need to help the reader because it's no guesswork. There isn't. He just looks at it, reads out a statement. For example, you might say the second letter of your first name has an A, E, I, O, or U, because it's the same symbol for these 5 letters, the same. He does not know how to interpret. So you need to say, in your case, Mark, yes. and it's an A. So and he now knows how to read that symbol on the leaf. Cool. So we help him. So he would look at the leaf, read out the statement that catches his eye as being the most important. For example, you're married, because the soul whose leaf this is a married soul. Now, matching represents the reality that you're in at the moment of your matching. If you're married, you say yes. If you're not married, you say no. So the only answers to statements, not questions, statements you need to give is yes, no, right, wrong, correct, or incorrect. That's it. No need to give any more information than that, because everything else is written on the leaf. So no need to say, yes, I'm married, but I'm going through divorce. It's irrelevant to him. You're now married, period. So for as long as you say yes to a statement, he goes deeper and deeper and deeper. You have 2 sisters, 3 children, whatever. If you say no, then that's not your leaf. He flips over to the new leaf and then starts from scratch. And then there will be a moment where you say yes to all statements. And out of nowhere, seemingly, boom, he will rattle off, boom, 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 boom. Your first name is Mark. Dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. And I say this imitating the readers, because they deliver the message in a sing-song way. Bam, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. That's how it sounds to me. They're trained doing it this way, because the whole reading and matching process, the Maharishis said, is a healing process. So through the vibrations of the voice, you're getting healing energy transmitted. Your mother's name is, your father's name is, you're born on this date, your wife or husband's name is this. So in my own case, I had no guide like you have in me. I just walked into it blindly, really. And then I'm sitting there only understanding half of what he says because the accent was so thick. And then all of a sudden he says, dum ba dum ba dum. Your mother's name is Gisela. I was like, holy moly, what? It's a German first name. Gisela is old school German first name. And I guarantee you, this guy's never heard the name in his life before. Bam, badam, badam, badam. Your father's name is Siavash. I was like, wow, oh my God. Siavash is an old school Persian name too. And I guarantee you, this guy's never heard that name before in his lifetime too. So the
that got your attention, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And so the Maharishis did that to have on every leaf, and it's only first name, because again, think back 2,000 years ago, people only had a first name. That's it. It was Mark from this village, or Mark the shoemaker, or whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's your first name, your mother's first name, your father's first name. Sometimes likely to have your spouse's name, or deceased spouse's name, or divorced spouse's name. It's possible. I was in one reading a few years ago where a lady was divorced 6 times, and I said, man, when do you learn a lesson? No need to get married again. but anyway, so she said that she was actually a very funny lady too. She said the same thing. But 3 or 4 of her ex-husband's names were on the leaf. Mind numbing. She said, oh my God, I divorced the bugger to never hear back from him, and yet he's on my leaf. So that means he's important for whatever lessons that she had to learn in this lifetime. So it's all these names plus your date of birth. And the date of birth actually on the leaf is based on Tamil calendar, which is very different to Western calendar. It's a 60-year cycle. But there is a chart to convert it to Western calendar. How many children you have and how many siblings you have. Not about your auntie, pet dog, or any of that. No, it's your nucleus family. And in short, it's you, period. That's called matching. It's like, wow. To me, it was mind-numbing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today and talk about it. So I said, of course, yeah, that's me. Absolutely. I accepted it. And then the reading starts. Reading is based on 3 aspects. Your thumbprint category type. And it's so important that we actually explain your thumbprint category name in detail during the reading part of your reading. So it's based on that. Why? Because it's your baseline. It's your red thread through life. It's your genetic imprint. It doesn't change. It's you, period. Neither good nor bad. Some of them are easier and some of them are a little more challenging. If you are mature enough, Mark, and I say this really with respect, if you're mature enough getting your reading, then you can look back in life and understand why certain things have been the way they were, because it's in your thumbprint category type. It tells you, ups and downs or easy ride or whatever. So we explain that to you. That's important. It never changes. That's your baseline. It's your red thread. Then it's based on your energies, not your mood, but your energies. Whether you had your morning coffee yet or not makes a difference. That will be your mood. And energies change every 6 months according to our system. And last but not least, it's based on the stars and planets, because they play a role in the reading too. And the leaf itself has direct messages about the constellation of the planets in it. So the reader needs to also learn Vedic astrology to be able to decode the message and give you the information. So based on these three aspects, I looked at my reader this way. I thought of him as being my wingman. So I thought, okay, Dr. Q, come here. Let's look at your leaf. And now that you know, I mean, at the time I didn't know any of this that I'm sharing with you. None of it. I learned it from scratch. So look at this. And I'm going to give you a possible, not set in stone. It's not. The reading can only be taken as a guideline, as a compass for your life. Mm-hmm. Must not take it verbatim, because you have free will and choice. Otherwise, you and I would be just mere puppets, and I don't believe in that. I do believe that we have a say in all of this, right?
Yeah, we're sovereign beings. We have autonomy. We can choose which direction we go in. So
absolutely,
it's a framework. It's signposts. It's to guide you.
Yes.
And based on the veracity of what you were told up to this point, which is saying your name, your location, all of those quotients that vindicate that that's me, then I'm more apt to go, okay, so this road could lead down this way, but it could be very rewarding, but it could be challenging.
Correct.
Like
for example.
Yeah. So
it's a guideline.
Yeah.
It's important.
I don't think we can ever do this justice in a short period of time, but we've got about 5 minutes left. Two things that I would like to cover. Two things in I know it's got to be brevity, but obviously there's a lot of skeptics in everything that examines consciousness that is not definitive. There's always going to be people who say, that doesn't work. Does the skeptic not even come to you because it's driven by the purpose of the individual? Like if I say to you, Dr. Q, now I want a reading, can we set it up? And you say, absolutely. So that's the nexus point between the actual leaves and my desire to have the reading, which were formulated at that time. The seeker will seek out what he or she needs. But if somebody's just trying to put you off and come in with ulterior motives, you could probably flag that as well, right? Like somebody who's going to try and be a skeptic to expose the modality.
Oh, we have many, because we've had, 10,000 readings already. Many. There is always skeptics. And I always say, look, my friend, nobody's forcing you to get a reading. Right. Either you believe in it or not. Right. In our case, we have 100% money back guarantee. I know that I cannot help everyone. I know there are skeptics out there. I know there are people with bigger issues that need more help than just a naughty reading. So if somebody is not happy, we'll always give the money back. Don't forget, it's an institute and foundation. I do this as good karma work. I personally make no money with it. I've not taken $1 in the 12 years I've been doing it. I have a real job outside of this. And so the whole purpose of this is to help maintain this wisdom and knowledge in India, and then bring it to the West in an as easy way as possible. It beats flying to India 10 times, It's a
lot more palatable, and it helps people educate themselves on their dharma, right? It
Correct.
Helps them focus
it's all about that. It's all about that. Yeah, it's helping you to get across the finish line. So the reading, just in short, so that you understand, it's not a raw reading. It's not sugar-coated. It's meant to help you. If you are already doing the right thing and are on dharma, then it's an easy reading. But if you're off, you might get a slap on your wrist or a kick in your butt saying, look, you're off course. But it's only the water we can show you. You have to drink yourself. That's the important part. And to help you reach, get across the finish line and reach moksha. That's the whole purpose of it. To not take it verbatim. It covers all aspects of life, health, family, education, money, whatever. And it gives you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Good means seize the opportunity, but you still have to do it. If it says it's a good time to publish a book, you still have to write it, edit it, and produce it and stuff. It won't happen just like that. So you got to do something to practically make it happen. Right. And now the most powerful part of the reading is when it's bad or ugly. That means the reader identified in the Rishi's leaf a block. It could be karmic, it could be family, it could be generational, planetary, whatever. That is where the real power of the reading is. For each block identified, and I always say embrace every block with an open heart. as a blessing in disguise, because now you know you have a block. And for each block, the leaf itself in its 14th and last chapter has remedies prescribed. Because we believe that you can fix whatever issues you have in this lifetime. You do not need to carry it over to the next lifetime. And these pujas, as we call them, they are the only part of the reading that you must follow verbatim. You must. The remedy part, the puja part, which is an energy shifting exercise. Puja means prayer ceremony or ceremonial act. And you got to do them exactly in the order prescribed, and do it on the exact days as prescribed. It's not hard. Anyone can do it. If I can do it, you can do it, really. It's not a big deal. But you got to follow direction. If it's 5 Thursdays, it's 5 Thursdays. If it's 10 Sundays, it's 10 Sundays. If it's 9 full moon days, it's 9 full moon days. Not 8, not 10. And it needs to be done on a full moon day, not the day after, because that means you missed it. And if you miss it, you got to start from scratch, because that's your way of showing the universe that you're serious about change, meaning overcoming the block, so that you can enjoy a better life trajectory for yourself. In one simple sentence, a better life trajectory for yourself, so that you can reach moksha. And as you go through your life, help others in turn.
Absolutely.
So the whole humanity gets to benefit it. So all humanity gets through Kali Yuga and eventually reaches Satya Yuga. So I need to tell you also how much it costs, because it's important for people. It's $100 only, $100 for the search for these bundles. You submit, you go to our website, indianpalmreading.com. I'm ready.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you got to be patient. We send you information to submit your thumbprint. That's important. We upload it through a secure server, so your data is very secure with us. We destroy everything once the reading is over, by the way, so we don't keep any records of anything. You submit it, and then you're put on the wait list. You got to be a little patient, because we have a lot of reading signups, and that holding area will be 2, 3, 4, 5 months. I don't know how long it takes. And then we start the search. We say, yeah, we moved you to the active list. Now we start the search, and that takes 2 to 5 months on average. And then when we find it, you pay $400 for the reading. 100 first, and then 400 for the actual reading.
That's very reasonable. If you look at the characterization of spiritual readings, and from mediums to whoever clinically has a metaphysical spiritual platform, that's a real bargain.
It is.
For the exhaustive research that you have to do, and then the attention to detail, and how you have to cobble the readers in with yourself. And then I watched Reverend Bill's reading with you as the moderator. Yeah. So it's a process that I don't think people have an appreciation for, just the idiosyncratic nature of it. You don't miss a detail. It's very detailed in its essence. And you know what? It reminds me, as a sportscaster and a former sports guy, and you play sports, it's like having an expert coach, right? So he gives you a game plan, and he says, you're in the 4th quarter now, man. You're in the 4th quarter, and here's, it's shit or get off the pot, basically. Yeah. Excuse my language. You got to, if you want to achieve this state of being in this incarnation, here's your roadmap. But it's up to you. Yes. It's totally volitional. I'm assuming if I come to you for a reading, I want that information. I want, like you said, I want the hard information. I want the one that says, no, quit being so self-deprecating. Think that you're worthy of the kind of kudos that people give you for what you're doing, and for what I'm doing, for what we're all trying to do to elevate consciousness in this brief respite we call life on this planet. Collectively, if we can all do our part, we can lift people up, and like you said, maybe shepherd people into a state where this doesn't have to happen again. Correct.
Yes, absolutely. That is
so if they want, give us your website again and how they can get in contact with you. There's so much more. I would like to do like 3 or 4 different shows on this, because then we can drill down into the separate compartments that are here. But I think you do a great job in briefly describing. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
The website is indianpalmleafreading.com. indianpalmleafreading.com. We are on many social media sites, so you can find me on Facebook, Indian Palm Leaf Reading, on Instagram, Indian Palm Leaf Reading. Then on YouTube, for those of you who are interested, you can go to and put this in Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute. And there, a dozen or 2 dozen, already quite a few, have allowed us to put their entire reading on our
Wow.
YouTube channel. So you can actually watch the whole process from beginning to end and learn about how it is done, you know, how it's conducted. Mind you, every person gets a reading from us. We're very, how should I say, we look after your privacy a lot. So we delete everything once the reading is done. We don't keep anything. But these individuals gave us written permission. It was their doing, because they wanted to help humanity, they're doing to put their reading on our YouTube channel so people can just peruse through them and see how it actually works.
And is the YouTube at Indian Palm Leaf Reading?
Yeah, Indian Palm Leaf Reading,
the YouTube
Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute. Also, Reverend
Institute.
Bill's.
Okay.
Yeah, also Reverend Bill's reading is there. That's why you saw it. It's on our channel.
I've seen it. Yeah, it was fascinating.
He allowed us. So yeah, so there's quite a few of them. Young ones, older, more mature souls. You know, male, female. So you can relate to an Indian. You know, Western people. So it's a good variety of different types of folks that allowed us to put their reading on our YouTube channel. And yeah, so that's basically it.
Well, thanks for all the travails that you went through physically to finally get to your chosen path to help enlighten us and move us all forward down the line. I think, again, it takes a village. It takes all of us.
A village, absolutely.
We all have different aptitudes and strengths, and I'm sure those are delineated in the readings. And maybe those of us who have neglected them and need to come out and actually be more bold are the ones who can help shepherd us into a more peaceful environment on this rock while we're still here.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. True.
Thanks so much for joining us today. I appreciate it, and I'm glad I got to meet you in person too. That was nice a couple of weeks ago.
You're welcome. Yeah,
that you were here in the Phoenix area. So we're going to put all your information in the show notes. I'm going to get a reading now. Now you got me all excited
up,
about it.
good. Yeah, it is beautiful. It is. It's a life-changing experience. Absolutely, it is. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. So thank you, Mark.
Safe travels back. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Much love. Take care.